My life goal right now is to build a manufacturing business that makes at least $100,000 a year. That's just enough to support me and my family. My first step in doing that was launching this Carabiner on Kickstarter. Over the last couple weeks, I have made about 1,000 of these, but I don't actually have a good count yet. So I'm gonna start by counting. Hours and hours and hours of counting later, I now know that I have 969 completed Carabiners. That's good because I only need about 700, so I have enough for the Kickstarter plus some for Etsy and general inventory after the Kickstarter. I went through every single Carabiner and I basically graded them into 2 grades. The A grade, which are the ones that are stonewashed and going to be sent to the customer in their current finish. On these ones, I was much more picky about blemishes or differences in color because they're gonna go to the customer just like this. The B grade, these will be powder coated. And the reason I'm calling these B grade is not because they're less functional or anything, it's just that sometimes they have a little bit of discoloration on them. Sometimes they have a little bit of resin that I didn't get off from the earlier process. Sometimes the texture on where I ground off the tab before machining, sometimes that doesn't blend very well and they need it to be tumbled a little bit longer. But those kind of blemishes just don't matter because they're gonna get sandblasted and then powder coated. So texture and color just aren't a factor. Earlier this month, I built this big rack for holding the things that I'm powder coating. And then earlier this week, I built this little rack that hangs on here. And this is what's gonna actually hold the Carabiners when I'm spraying them with the powder. But before I can start coating, I need a cooling rack. This hanger needs a place to live once I take it out of the oven. When you take something out of the powder coat oven, it takes a couple minutes for that powder to cool down to a temperature where you can touch it and it won't leave a mark. Powder coat is just a plastic. And when it's hot and melty, it's susceptible to things like thumbprints. So we want to avoid those. I'm gonna build a cooling rack to keep that from happening. All right, that should do it. I did screw up and make it a little bit too long, but we'll ignore that. It fits fine. And let's see if this fits. I guess I'm gonna need hooks. Yeah, that'll do. I'm glad I didn't make it any less wide. That should work. I just need hooks. Let me get hooks. And perfect, that should work. All right, the time has come. I don't think I can avoid powder coating anymore. I'm out of excuses. I'm gonna start with pink because I have the least orders for pink, and therefore, if I mess up a batch, it's not as big of a deal. So the oven is preheating. My timer panel is ready. Just need the powder coat. Never mind, I do have an excuse not to powder coat. I need to prep the Carabiners first. I don't know what I was thinking. They need to be sandblasted and then degreased and then cooked for a bit, and then they'll be ready. Well, at first glance, they look pretty good. I don't see anything obviously wrong with them, except there's that one on the ground. I didn't quite have enough clearance when I was picking these up, and that one caught on this T-slot extrusion. So there's probably a blemish on there. Otherwise, they should be good to go. The biggest problem I noticed in that first little test was it was too hard to get this thing moved around. I was trying to hold it with like a pair of pliers, and it just, I don't know, I wasn't dexterous enough, and it's pretty tight. It's pretty tight on the sides, and it was hard to get in there. I think honestly I just need to find some like shop oven mitts and like use gloves to get them in. I think that would be a lot easier going forwards. So I'm gonna go to the store and buy gloves. So I have a confession. I did like a bunch of powder coating behind your back, but I think I got my process nailed down, or at least I seem to. I scrapped like a bunch of carabiners. Well, not scrapped. I screwed up the coating on like a bunch of carabiners while I was doing my testing, but I can just sandblast those back off and then repowder coat them. So they're not lost, it's just extra work that I have to do. I think I was able to finally pin down all of the different variables that will let me do this repeatably. First thing I did is I bought one of these. Every tutorial ever about powder coating says you need one of these. Turns out they're right, because the first thing I learned is my oven was not getting hot enough. According to this little guy, I was getting to about 400 degrees with where I was sitting, but like this gauge is kind of hard to read, and it's in the middle and right by the door, so it's not super accurate. By using this thing, I was able to tell that my temperatures were too low. I was only getting to about 350 or 325 degrees on the part, when it should be at 400 for curing. So part of that was that I wasn't leaving them in there long enough, and part of it was the oven is too cool. So I changed my time settings on here. I used to have this set for 12 minutes. It is now, I gave it an extra 2 minutes in my curing time, and that has made a huge difference. I also just cranked the temperature up to max, which seems to get the parts to about 400 degrees. I wish my oven was a little bit hotter, but it is what it is at this point. The other thing that I learned is that on my little fixture here, I was getting a really big buildup of powder really fast, which was giving it a bad ground and keeping the powder from sticking. Like look how thick that guy is compared to this one. I don't know if you can see that, but this one is easily like 3-4 times as big. I tried sandblasting that fixture off, and I mean, while it would have worked eventually, it would have taken me like half an hour, 45 minutes every time I needed to powder coat. And that is when I had a flashback to my old day job, where we just had an oven that we would stick our powder coating hooks in and just burn the powder off. And I went, I have fire, I can burn them off. And sure enough, that works really well. So now when I need to clean off my fixture, which is every time I use it, I just walk right out here and use my propane torch and just burn it off. Takes, I don't know, a minute, maybe less, and leaves the hooks nice and clean, which makes it easy to powder coat the next batch. I could theoretically burn off some of these ones that I need to recoat. We used to do that at my old day job, but I haven't tested that yet. I've been a little bit too afraid of hurting these, but it's probably worth a shot. At very least, it would save me a lot of sandblasting. This is all I've really managed to accomplish at this point. I have the pinks done, plus a few extra for inventory, and I'm just starting now on this color, which we call Army Green. I did also order a new powder coat gun, which is something that I haven't wanted to do just because it costs money. Right now when I'm powder coating, I do a color coat and then I do a clear coat. And I only have one powder coat gun. So every time that I'm doing something, I have to switch colors in the middle of it. First I have to go from the clear coat that was in the gun to the color coat. I spray with the color coat, and then I go back from the color coat to clear coat. And it takes so long, it's annoying. And there's a lot of risk of color contamination in my clear coat by constantly changing back and forth. If I'm only using the clear coat in the same gun every time, one, I won't have to do as many color switches. Two, there's no way that I can contaminate the clear coat because it'll always just be a dedicated clear coat gun. I'm not gonna like have a little bit of orange when I spray the clear coat over the green. It'll always be clean. But of course that's not here yet, so I'm not doing that today. All right, I spent enough time babbling so that my oven is just about heated up. This time I'm gonna talk you through the whole thing and exactly what I did. All right, step one is to burn off these hooks. So let's get these outside and apply some fire. And that should do. Now I need to just wash this off under some water to make sure there's no char or anything that's gonna end up on the finished carabiners. And then just kind of lightly brush it with a Scotch-Brite, again, to make sure there's no contamination on the actual parts. And our last preparation step is to get the carabiners hung on the hooks and then get that whole fixture into the oven to preheat for powder coating. I'm doing 11 carabiners in this batch. I can do as many as 24 on this fixture, but I'm still building up a little bit of confidence before I do that many. I want to slowly step it up until I know that I can do a full batch reliably, because I really don't want to screw up 24 and then have to sandblast 24 carabiners. All right, these preheat for 2 minutes, getting to about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So the color pass is done. That gets 2 minutes in the oven before I do the clear coat, which means I need to get this powder coat gun cleaned out and ready for the clear coat. Ah! Well, that could have gone better. I don't know if you were able to see it from that camera angle, but I kept knocking off the hook that I hang my fixture on when I go to spray it, which meant I had to keep putting the thing back in the oven so it would kind of keep warm and then rehanging it again. And like all of this stuff is super time and temperature sensitive, so my parts cooled down and they had longer to cure than they should have, and oh, that did not go well. And then also in my confusion, I forgot to hook up my ground wire. Now, fortunately, that is still kind of grounded, just not very efficiently without that ground wire. That didn't go super well, and I dropped one of the carabiners before I could spray with the clear coat. This is why I'm not doing huge batches yet. When this is done, I'm going to make better hanging hooks on my fixture here. "14 minutes later, it's all done, and we get to start this whole process over again. All right, despite knocking the hooks off the rack, these look pretty good to me. I'll let them cool for 2 minutes and then we can clean off the rack and keep going. I just cleaned and sandblasted a whole nother batch of carabiners because I was out. I've got 12 more racked up here. If these work, I'm gonna start doing batches of 24. I think I'm confident enough to do these bigger batches now. I have made a mistake and scrapped another, couple $100 worth of carabiners. I used the torch to clean the powder coating off of these ones that I screwed up the powder coating on earlier. I thought I was being smart and saving a lot of time. I tested on 1 or 2, it seemed to work fine. But now that I'm playing with them, all these ones here, I see that I was wrong. It did in fact change the springiness of the carabiner and they don't feel right anymore. So this whole batch is now going in the scrap bin, unfortunately. I should have just sandblasted them. I'll sandblast them in the future. Bye-bye, carabiners. It is the next day, and I've done a bunch of powder coating, but I have a few problems. The first problem, and this is the biggie, is I am almost out of the clear coat. This is all I have left. That's the clear coat that goes on top of the color, and that means I use that for every single carabiner. They all get that clear coat on top, and I have just a little bit left. The little tank thingy on my powder coat gun is full, but I don't know how long it's gonna last. I've already ordered more. I just didn't order enough to begin with. I ordered 3 pounds of it, but it just wasn't enough, especially with all of my mistakes and stuff that I've made. My other problem is a lot of these yellow ones look like crap. And I think it's just because this yellow is kind of transparent and doesn't cover very well. I'll go through it. Some of these are usable, but I think most of these will need to be sandblasted off and redone. And then next time I'll use more powder to really cover up that gray look really well. These other colors, a lot of them are darker except for the pink, and so they cover the gray a lot better than this kind of transparent yellow. On the bright side, I mean, look at this beautiful color palette of carabiners. Those are all done and ready to go out to customers. So I'm just getting these last colors done, and this is kind of an annoying setback. On the bright side, Prismatic Powders has really fast shipping. So that new powder coat will probably be here tomorrow. I've been telling people that I'll be done powder coating today, unfortunately may get pushed back till tomorrow. I'm going to get every single thing that I can done today and start shipping. I also told people that I was going to be shipping before the end of the week and, you know, starting around Thursday or Friday. But I think to make up for the missing powder coat and the delay on that, I'm going to start shipping the ones that I can ship earlier. And to make that part a little bit easier and to let me ship more up front, I'm gonna move from doing all of powder A and then all of powder B and all of powder C to doing one batch of powder A, one batch of powder B, one batch of powder C, and then once I get through all the colors, I'll go back and do the second batch of powder A, the second batch of powder B. And that way, for all the colors, I'll have something that I can ship now. Even if I can't ship all of the orders, I can start shipping some of them. I'll probably powder coat. Actually, I'm sure I'll be able to powder coat faster than I can ship. That way I don't think there will be any delay in the process anywhere, so I don't think I'm falling behind by doing that. 8 hours of powder coating today, and I am exhausted. Apparently I'm done for today in terms of powder coating because I am out of the clear coat finally, unfortunately. Fingers crossed that'll be in tomorrow. Hopefully I ordered it early enough in the day that Prismatic will get it to me tomorrow. Otherwise it might be the day after that. I do have at least a handful coated of every color except for orange. Orange was the color I was going to do last because I have the most of it, which at the time made sense. In retrospect, I don't know if that did make sense. I can ship at least a large portion of my orders with what I have on hand. I might do that tonight, I might do it tomorrow. I am tired. I still have some sandblasting to do at very least tonight so that I'm ready for when the powder comes in tomorrow. I might go do dinner first though, take a little bit of a break. I don't want to make any dumb mistakes because I'm worn out. It's now like 9 o'clock or something. I went and had dinner with the family. We went to the grocery store and I decided to come back in the shop to make at least a little bit more progress tonight. My plan is to, at a bare minimum, get shipping labels printed for this first batch of Carabiners, make sure that my design for the new laser cut inserts works. Maybe I'll get some shipped tonight and maybe I'll get some packaged tonight if everything goes well. We'll see. But I need to start by testing that laser cut packaging. I am very tired. Well, that was fast. Standard next day shipping from Prismatic Powders is awesome. It's not even that expensive. And, you know, I have powders like 12 hours after I ordered it. That'll save me. Apparently I'm doing powder coating today. I was all prepared to work on packaging all day today, but I guess I'm back to powder coating. It's also not that cold out, so having that window open and venting the powder outside isn't gonna suck too much heat out of my shop. I spent a long time last night getting everything ready to where it's ready to ship today, finally. I'm starting with the smaller orders because they will be the fastest and easiest to get out, and then I'll move on to the ones that are a little bit more complicated. Last night I folded a bunch of boxes and printed the labels, so everything pretty much should be ready to go. So check out how many labels this is. This is what I'm shipping tomorrow. It starts at one end of my shop and makes it almost all the way down to the other end of the shop. So for context, look at how far that is. Yeah, I've got a lot of shipping left to do tomorrow. Holy cow. Also, these are 3" by 4" labels, not 6" labels. So each label is only 3 inches wide in this orientation. Wow. So that is a lot of packages to ship tomorrow. Like, a lot. I'm gonna take the rest of the night now to get ready for that tomorrow. Honestly, at this point, I don't think I'll be able to make it in time. I just don't see it being possible to ship that many packages. I'll do my best, and if they go out on Saturday, they go out on Saturday. So for the rest of the day, I'm going to be lasering cardboard, and I have a few new inserts to design. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. In the meantime, time-lapse. Unless the time-lapse is boring and Scott cuts this whole part. I'm pretty sure I left you guys on Friday. It is now Tuesday, and I have done so much shipping. So if you look at this stack here, we have milk crate, half full milk crate, all of boxes ready to go out. These were basically packed Sunday and Monday. I was hoping to get them out Monday night, but I didn't quite get them done in time. That's about 150 boxes, and it took a very long time. Right now, I just have 60 boxes left. Then everything that I can fulfill will be fulfilled. And I say that because some people haven't filled out their backer survey yet. I'm looking at you. Today, my goal is to ship all the orders that have lanyards and pry bars on them. Pry bars. Though there's a little bit of an annoying problem with the lanyards where they don't really fit neatly in the box. I'm not sure that I can even pack one carabiner and the lanyard in the same box, so all lanyards might get their own box. Let's see if we can get this to fit though, just to be sure. There's an insert. Let's throw a carabiner in here. All right, will this fit? If we roll it up. Part of my problem is I want to make it look neat. Okay, so maybe if they order just one, I suppose that technically closes. What if it's loose and diagonally across it? That fits a little bit better. What if I like wrapped it around a box or an insert? I'd probably have to make a custom insert. Yeah, it's still tight. What if this insert was smaller? There we go. Okay. So that works. So I could have some sort of insert kind of like this. I don't know how I'm going to make it neater, but I'll see what I can come up with. I think this will do. I could even just use one piece of cardboard thick here instead of two to save some thickness. I might have to tape those. I don't know. There's got to be some way to make it look neat. There you go. If you turn it over, it looks something like that. I think it has a tendency to kind of, well, it's not trying to jump. So I think something like that is the key. I think that looks good. All right, let's go into problem-solving engineering time-lapse mode. All right, so that actually worked on the first try. It fits neatly in the box there. It looks nice. I wish it was a little bit more compact, but I mean, I can only get a lanyard so compact. So I think that'll do. Now I just need to cut a bunch of these. 200-ish packages are here and going to the post office. This was a lot of work. All 3 milk crates are entirely full, and these are not large boxes. I have about 30 packages left to ship tomorrow, which I'm not gonna do on camera. You guys have already seen everything there is to see. If you'd like to buy a Not For Climbing carabiner, they are for sale in my Etsy store and on my website, link down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. See you in the blooper reel. I'm pretty sure
The door didn't open.
No Roombas were heard in the making of this video.
Ruining my moment here. Get out of here.
I, for one, welcome my robotic overlords.
You are not helping with my video, sir.